Right, and we're all set up for embellishing now. This is my heat fix tool. There are different heads that can be put onto there. There are flat ones and curved ones for different sizes of crystals and pearls. And I always use a chopping board when I've got a tiny little chopping board that I sit my tool on when it's in use. And the other things I have nearby are a few pins in case the crystals get stuck and they need to be flipped off. Now this is my box of goodies. I buy all my crystals from Dawn. I'll put a link to her website, and these are all my crystals in here. So we're going to make a selection of crystals. Now obviously we're looking for clear crystals. We're looking for red. I think that one's called cyan. I do tend to keep these in the box almost in colours. There's a gorgeous green one there. Let's put these down the outside of the tree so that I can see the colours that are developing. These are the more pearl type ones, but I think they would be lost on here. We want to go for shine. And that's my intention. We've got some lovely gold ones there. That's just a bit too orange. Oh, and look at those. Some lovely bright yellow citrine, those ones are. Now, as well as the pearls, the crystals, there are also stars. There's tiny little stars here. These are a bit small for the main tree, but they'd probably be perfect on my small tree, which I'm going to embellish as well. Now I have a rather, I don't attach my Hotfix crystals and pearls in quite the same way. I've developed my own method of doing it, which I feel is just a little bit better. These are beautiful sort of opal type ones, but they won't be suitable for what we're doing today. Let's just quickly go down the middle. I'm looking for a particular you could never have enough of these crystals. And designs by Dawn. She has the most gorgeous ones there on there, and they're all Swarovski crystals. No, can't find what I want. I was looking for some nice big ones, some big stars, and oh, they're in another container, that's why. But let's see what we can do with those. As well as the Hotfix crystals, you can obviously buy drop crystals and hearts and all sorts of, and then you've got your seed beads and tiny little notions that for crazy quilting and scrapbooking. Lots of different options that you can use to, because you don't have to put your embellishing on with a heat fixer. You can sew embellishing on as well. Right, this was what I was looking for, my tiny little container, which is great for holding the crystals in. So I'm going to tip some of these citrine ones in here. And I know that this is nice and hot. And I would think about what you're going to do here and decide where you're going, what crystals you're going to put, and put the same ones on the ornaments throughout the tree. So I'm going to start with I think I'll start with the just looking at the different places and how it looks. Now what I do is I put it in position. Now they will tell you to put it on, to pick it up from here and then wait until you can see the glue bubbling and then apply it, but that's not the way I do it. I find that once I start putting things down like this, two things can happen. The crystal can fall off, although that doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. And the other thing is that it's not always easy to see the positioning and it can move slightly. So what I tend to do is I put the crystal in position and I'm slowly holding this and pushing down harder and harder. The big ones I count to about 16, and I should think we've got 16 now, and I just let go. And when I go like that, it's hot, but it's not moving. Now, as you see, I had a thread go wrong on this one, so but I'd waited to trim these until the Hotfix crystals have been attached. And you will notice in the design that they're not as, I added more stitches, they're not as open as this. So you come down from the top, make sure it all looks right, and then start applying pressure. 7, 6, oh no, down at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Obviously, the smaller the crystals are, the less time they need to heat up. 1, 2, 13, I think that'll be all right. Now, the other good thing about this method is if you take it off and like this one here, you think, oh no, that's not quite the right position. Put it back on and apply the pressure and the heat will melt it. And I mean, you're probably only wanting to move it a tiny bit, but you're able to do that. These aren't the largest size crystals that are available. There are some even bigger ones. But be very careful of using something that's too big. You've got to get your proportions right. I'm applying that really hard, as you can see. Hope it's all showing on the video. Now that particular bauble, oh, there it is. Now I chose this one as it was a contrast to the colours of this particular bauble. Is that all of them? I looked at the star, but actually because you've got so many stitches here, big stitches that loop over each other, they're quite pronounced at the top. This is quite thick, and I don't think I'll put anything on there. Right, I'm going to put my tool down on the wooden chopping board where I know it won't roll away or do any damage. And I get the bag that I used and just tip those back in. I think we'll use some of these lovely dark orange or bronzy coloured ones. It's quite a dark gold that I've used on here. I can't remember the which number it was, what the sulky thread was that I used, but it's quite a dark one. But these are perfect. They match it nicely. I wonder what it will look like. No, that's lost on there. Needs to go on an orange bit. Could put it there, or I could put it in the middle of that one. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move that up there. Take that down there, make sure it's aligned nicely between the stitches, and then start applying pressure. Now the customer who decorated these ones are just a little bit smaller than the next size down from what we were doing previously. So they probably only need sort of a count to 12 to hold them in place. Push that down. She'd sewn bows and all sorts. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm always looking for sources for tiny things. I see buttons online and I order them and they come and I think, oh no, that's far too big for my crazy quilting. So finding tiny items for embellishment, it can be difficult. So if you know somewhere, then do let me know so that I can put some details on the website for other people, because it's so important to be able to source them and that they're not too big. Tiny buttons are the really difficult one. I got some beautiful ones the other day, not suitable for this, but tiny little pearl ones, and I got that from House of Smocking here in the UK. I'm just looking for, I think the only other one's down here. It's hanging at the bottom of the tree over the base. Some of you will not want to embellish your tree. Others of you will, perhaps like me, put a little bit of embellishment on them, and others of you will be very flamboyant. It's all down to your particular style, and that's fine. You feel free to customize it as you see fit. I've just found a few more other types of crystals which I wanted to show you. These are tiny Ouroboros ones, and look how they catch the light. These are oblong ones. There are several different shapes that you can get, leaves and drops, and obviously these would be quite nice if you added them to, I mean, I've actually put the last ones went on the bar bit across there, but you could have put a row of these on. These are the lovely hearts that come. Look at those. That's sort of a lovely rose, pale beige colour. Gorgeous. And then you can get the shapes which are not crystals. We've got hearts here, and stars, and there are also Christmas trees. So there are lots of different options for you to try out and play with. I've got my little red ones here, and I'm going to put them in the centre of the star. They won't show as a contrast, but they'll add a little bit of sparkle to the stars, which I think is important. Now, obviously, before you turn your Hotfix applicator off, just run your fingers over and make sure all of them have cooled down and that they are nicely attached. I've got shaky hands, and so this is another reason why I find that this method is perfect for me. You will find that some of the glue gets on the end of your applicator. Now you see I didn't hold that one down long enough, and for some reason or other, because I've done that, it will get stuck. It won't come off. Now there's a split between here, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm putting the pin between just to pull it off, and that's why I always have a pin handy. What happened to the other one? I suppose I always find these all over the floor. And of course you don't have to just embellish the ornaments. You can put these on as extra embellishments on the tree. That's that one. Let's move that. As I say, I've noticed when I'm putting pearls on ivory silk, sometimes it will leave a mark, so this method may be not as good for that. And also you can see I'm getting loads of glue that's burning around the edge here, but I have a little bit of screwed up aluminium foil and use that to remove it. Now, what am I going to do with my tree? I'm going to back it with some batting, just to give it substance, because you can see what's the silk dupion is quite thin, so it needs to have like a cushioned effect on behind it to give it a little bit of substance. So I'm going to put batting behind it, and then I'm going to attach that with borders. And I have actually created some borders with elements from this design set, so they will be available soon. I like little wreaths. I've taken these the tiny little branches and I've made little wreaths and corners. There we are. Now I think that's all the red stars done. Oh, there's two down here on the base that I've missed. Don't be overwhelmed when you first use Hotfix crystals and pearls. I used to find the whole process so difficult. Now that one's out of place because I was looking at the rest of it, so I'm just going to move it. I used to find it really stressful, and things would go wrong, and they'd get stuck in the applicator, and hence why I have the pins. But over the years, this has become my favourite way to embellish. There we are. That's the red done. I have been noticing that we've got a very plain star up here, so I think you could cover this with sparkles. You could put a crystal at each point. Lots of options of what you could do there. Now, as I said, some of the metallic stars don't stick out. They're not so obvious, depending on the fabric that they've been embroidered onto. Now, I was going to put these little stars over them, but because it's metallic thread there, I don't think it will adhere very well. So I'm going to just put them in another place. It's all sparkle. It's that's the important thing, and I tend to put these stars between. See, I'm putting it here. I'm putting it between the embroidery stitches. Now, theoretically, you should apply these with a flat a head on the applicator, but I'm just being very careful not to. Whoops! It's hot, and if you don't put it down immediately in the middle, it goes all over the place. It's getting a bit dirty. The main thing is that you don't move the applicator around and scratch the crystal that you're attaching. I think we're nearly there. I hope this is all coming out on the video. I'm just letting it play while I'm busy having fun here. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to say about putting these hot crystals on. I think we'll have one. I'm trying to make sure there's one in at least each fabric section. I haven't put one in this bit one, so I'll put one here. Right, I think I'm going to finish there. And in the next video, let's put the rest of those stars on this little one. I'm just going to pop that over on there. Now this is very much silvers and and blues, and let's come in a bit so you can see what I'm doing. But do let me know if you know anywhere where I can get extra embellishments, because it's just so much fun to add things to your embroidery, and not just to these crazy Christmas trees, but to any of the crazy quilt designs that I have. And there are many other embroidery designs which I think a little bit of embellishing is perfect for them. So we've got one there, one there, one there. We're going to put one down here, and then I'm going to put the final one at the top. This has been so much fun to do. Now I'm going to have to be very careful on this one. I haven't got any bigger stars. It's not really got a great deal to hold it, pushing down really hard. It may not work, which means I've got to get some more. There, I hope you like that. And there's the top. I left the outline alignment stitches, I left them in place. They're from the original template. I thought they just added a little bit of sparkle to it, and I think I'll just apply. If you haven't got one of these Hotfix guns, then they're not terribly expensive, but I think you'd find it quite difficult to attach them with ordinary glue. So there we are. I hope you found that interesting. I've not put any ribbons or buttons or seed beads or sequins, so much more that I could add to it. But you personalise your tree and you make it look as you want it to look. Let me take you close up so you can see this one in all its glory. I've not put anything on the star. I decided not to. I hadn't got anything that was significantly big enough, really. So as I say, I need to get some more crystals. Until next time, happy hooping, and I hope you're able to put some of these ideas to test to embellish your embroidery and make it pop. Thank you for watching, and leaves me just to say, happy embroidering for Christmas.